Hey everybody, and welcome to the Timesync Anime Podcast, Episode 4. We're going to be discussing Week 4. I'm JT, this is Rex.
That's me.
So, how you guys been doing?
What, me?
Yeah, you.
Too much work, not enough lazy.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So far the season has been looking up to be really cool. We're about a third of the way through summer 2018.
Yep. With the stuff dropped so far, I think the rest is just going to be smooth sailing.
Yep. So, first and foremost, let's talk about Angomoy.
Yes, sweet samurai action. I love how the episode started off with the really cool invasion, and it was supposed to be like this smooth sailing, planned out invasion. Then the guys betrayed him and cut Teruhi, cut her straight down the chest.
Yeah. It seemed like they more grazed her later, but anyway, so Jinzaburo actually kills that guy, and then they have to improvise, and they invade the camp, start doing some minor, burning down some buildings.
Some skirmishing.
Yeah. A lot of really cool fights, like you got people getting their arms chopped off, heads cut off, dudes getting chopped in half.
I want to actually point out, when Jinzaburo killed the guy who betrayed him, his immediate response wasn't, "How dare you betray us?" His immediate response was, "Oh no, do you have children? Is your family being, kidnapped by the Mongols? Is that why you're doing this?"
Yeah.
His immediate concern was for the guy's family, not for the guy betraying himself.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I'd almost forgotten about that, but yeah, it definitely shows that Jinzaburo, despite being a seemingly good person, was put in exile. But his actions betray that he's a pretty good person. So why was he in exile in the first place?
Exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, so the episode continues. We actually meet some of the Mongol invading force, like the marshal and vice marshal, and they're talking about
the guy just walks in with a little sweet guitar.
Yeah. One of the commanders, actually goes into the marshal's tent and says, there's a bunch of people attacking. It's how many? I don't know, 500, maybe 1,000?
1,000, I think.
And then, so he then hits them. It's you came to report an attack without knowing how many people there were.
Yeah, it makes him out to be this cool badass leader.
And he's just instead, first just try to listen carefully and try to figure out how many there are from that. And he's I estimate there's maybe only about 75.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're using the night to their advantage. And then, the vice marshal
shows immediately
up.
After, making him out to be such a badass leader guy, this flamboyant, vice marshal shows up playing his guitar. He's yes, it is a beautiful song for this night. Or something like that.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
And then pretty much just walks in, sits in his chair, and he's that was a good idea about the whole hearing thing, but also you're stupid, and I want to hunt this guy down.
Yeah.
He's talking about hunting down the wolf.
Yep, that was his major obsession throughout this episode, hunting down the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So then they have some fighting on the beach. They find out some of the hostages are being dragged away.
Well, they're fighting in the base, and they learn their hostages are on the beach.
Yes. Okay,
so they realize they can't go help the hostages because they'd be going in too deep. And Jinzaburo says, well, we just want to go in there, let them know we're here, and then get out without losing anybody.
But then, it's so they're about to forsake the hostages, but then a group of other people show up.
Yeah, the Toiburai.
Yep, the Toiburai.
The original defenders of Japan is what they call themselves.
Yep, and somebody had pointed out that they don't answer to the local lord or anything, or even part of the local lord's army. Nothing like that. They serve somebody else completely.
The emperor.
Yep.
That's what they said, I think.
Yep. So Jinzaburo goes and meets up with the leader of the Toiburai. They have a brief discussion. He's offended by how curtly the leader of the Toiburai is offended how curtly he speaks and how unrefined he is. But then says, "I recognize your skill, but if you ever want to meet our master, then you're basically going to have to clean up your tongue."
Yeah, and he says he owes them because before they had the conversation, the Toiburai showed up, gave them a big distraction, and then they were able to go to the beach and save all the hostages.
Yep.
So, and that made everyone, that's a big morale boost when you get a bunch of people's family back and stuff.
Exactly. And so then, after that point, they all go on the run back into the forest.
Yeah, meet up with Princess Teruhi, and she's not dead. She just looks very exhausted. And then Jinzaburo walks up. He's like, "Hey, are you okay?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine."
And he's chewing on something.
Yeah, he's chewing on some medicine.
They think it's mochi at first because a bunch of the ladies from the village made mochi for everybody. And everybody's happy about that. It's like, you're going to go up to our princess chewing on mochi. It's like, this isn't mochi.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to chew mochi in front of your princess. I'm just going to spit on her.
Yeah.
He just spits the medicine onto her.
Because it's sesamo grass is what he calls it. And he says, people in my village use this for medicine. So he spits on her, rubs that on her wound, and then starts doing that for all the other wounded. Teruhi quickly realizes that he's just trying to keep up morale among the wounded, trying to cheer them up. And
being a just awesome guy.
Yeah. Jinzaburo's a really cool character in that regard. And then we find out that there's a son of the person who betrayed them, who is now among the rescued hostages. One of the So clan is really upset that he's still alive.
A couple of guys are beating on him.
Yeah, one of them...
How dare you eat that food?
Yeah, it's like, my son has been kidnapped by the Mongols and I'm never going to see him again. How come this brat's still here?
Yeah, basically blaming the kid for his dad's actions.
And then Jinzaburo goes up and basically splits them apart. Jinzaburo goes up and tells Susamuru is the kid's name.
He hands him the katana.
It's like, this is your father's katana. I'm the one who killed your father. If you're really angry at me, then stab me with this. And the kid hesitates to do this. It's like, your father was a strong man, but he made the mistake of going up against somebody stronger than he was. So if you're really ever going to want to kill me, you're going to have to become strong enough to kill me.
Yeah, he walked up to him, and I can just imagine, like, good. Use your anger.
But
strike me down.
But yeah, so it seems that, and it seems like Susamuru wants to actually, I guess for the time being, help out Jinzaburo so that he can eventually kill him.
Yeah, he'll probably become a pretty important character.
But for the time being, this is all that happened in Ongomoy. I guess something we did overlook, though, was before everybody retreated, the pirate, actually has a fight with the vice marshal, like with a giant club.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he has a fight with him with a giant club. He's like clubbing people in half.
Yeah.
And
that was during the raid, I think.
Yeah, this was during the raid. And then Jinzaburo shows up during the fight. The vice marshal realizes that he was the wolf. Yeah. And this is the one he wants to kill. But it's like, no, let's not chase him. You're right.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't have that long of a fight. Like, they have like a 30-second fight, and then the vice marshal's leader basically says, well, it's weird, because, like, it looks like he's being pulled by invisible strings or something.
Yeah.
There's, like, no message or anything. He's like, oh, that was a message. We can't chase him, so I don't know. Like, there's some mystical powers behind that or something.
Possibly. We'll find out more about that, hopefully in the next episode. But so far, this is a pretty cool episode. As far as fights go, there's quite a bit. Not as much in the way of story, but there is more character development on Jinzaburo and a few other important characters, so that was really cool. Anyway.
Hey, do you know the rules of shogi?
No, what are the rules of shogi? Like, what are the rules of shogi exactly? I know that it's basically what I know is it's a more complicated version of chess. Almost.
Oh no! So the rules of shogi are where you take off your pants and shoot. Was it like shoot butt lasers at people? I think. So Asabi Asabase.
Yeah.
The most recent episode started with was it Hanako?
Hanako.
Yeah, Hanako's dad. He wanted to look like this really smart dad.
Not her dad, her butler. It was her butler.
Oh yeah, it was her butler, yeah. And he wanted to look like a really smart guy and always know every answer for Hanako.
Because Hanako was a very inquisitive child and asked a lot of questions, as kids are off to do. But anyway, so one day she asks, what are the rules of shogi? And he starts to say, I could tell her that the rules of shogi are you try to get into your opponent's base and take their king. But I don't really know the rules of shogi all that well. So he just, to keep up his appearance, he makes this story up that you fire a laser out your butt. Mm-hmm. And
she buys it. And Hanako's a fucking idiot.
Not only that, she is entertained by the fact that he can fire lasers out of his butt until 6 months before she's in middle school.
Yeah, she's just getting disappointed.
Yeah, and it's just like, stop doing that.
That's it's creepy.
But yeah, Asabi Asabase, teaching you the real rules to shogi.
Yeah. And then it goes on to them.
Keijo move.
The teacher, or the advisor shows up, and she's like, hey, I can bring in one of the Lords of Pastime.
The 4 Lords of Pastimers.
Talking about the four Lords of Past. Oh, no. The teacher was on a lunch.
With a friend.
Lunch date with her friends, and the friend told her about the 4 Lords of Pastimers, which Not exactly the same kind of thing that the advisor was thinking of. She's like, oh yeah, maybe there's just more girls who like to play games.
Yeah.
So they send over one of them, and it turns out she's this Ganguro girl, which for those of you who don't know, it's like a fashion in Japan where they put on like tan makeup all the time, and they wear a bunch of like stickers on their face and like orange hair. It's basically like Donald Trump fashion.
Oh god, it's so. And looking at it, it's just like, who thought this was a good idea?
It's popular enough, I guess.
But anyway,
and then yeah, she shows up, and to the main cast, pastiming to them is just playing silly games.
Yep.
But pastiming to her is sleeping with a bunch of dudes.
Yep. And it was just funny. Like, it's just like, Olivia's like, we play kendama here, and she's just like, she just like plays it really quickly and does really well at it.
Apparently
It's just
she's
like,
amazing at it. Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, all you do is try to catch the ball. This game's really boring. So anyway, she leaves, she heads out, and not much really occurs from that one. The next, they play a game of
Teoshi Sumo.
Yes, Teoshi Sumo. Olivia reveals that ever since she was a little girl, she wanted to be a sumo wrestler. The only problem is, Hanako and Kasumi reveal to her that there are no female sumo wrestlers, it's only men, and she was extremely disappointed by this.
That's not very progressive.
And she's just like, have you never watched sumo before? It's like, how can you not have noticed this? It's like, I thought they were only airing the men's game. It's like, since they're naked from the waist up, I thought that they just couldn't air that on TV.
Yeah, and you just wrap up the girl's boobs, it's fine.
Yeah, and so, it's just like, there are lots of games where you can play sumo, and then they tell her this other sumo game. What was it called again?
Teoshi Sumo.
Which
I played it before when I was in like high school, where you stand next to each other, you hold out your hands, and the goal is to knock the other person over by only slapping their hands.
Yeah, and occasionally dodging.
Yeah.
But I played a game kind of similar to that. It was called Mercy, which you basically grabbed each other's hands, you try to twist them.
Oh god, I remember playing that. That was awful.
Yeah.
There was no winners in that. There was only someone who loses a little bit less.
Yeah, it was a terrible game. But anyway, that's just kind of what it reminded me of, because I never played Teoshi Sumo. But anyway, so Hanako and Kasumi get ready to play and show Olivia how the game is played, and Olivia sounds like, that's a great idea.
It's like this epic battle too.
Yeah, and then Hanako starts treating it like it's going to be a fun, silly little game, and Kasumi starts taking it way too seriously.
Well, yeah, because she is tired of losing games to her sister.
That's a good point. And then so what happens is Hanako tries to go in to shove, and it's just like, she's still going to shove? Okay, I can dodge this. And she like bends her back like 135 degrees, almost to where she's touching the backs of her legs.
Yeah.
Like, and then Hanako's response is, she's doing her Chinese contortionist shit again.
Yeah. Next scene is, Kasumi was alone in the club room. She's like, oh, it's the perfect time. I can write my totally not Harry Potter fan fiction. Like, I don't remember exactly what they're talking about. She's like describing like, oh yes, his wand was...
Yeah, and then...
something like that.
And of course, Hanako shows up a little bit later. Hanako shows up and then starts, and then notices what Kasumi's writing and starts giving her a hard time about it. And then Kasumi's just like, I'm gonna kill myself. So she starts strangling herself.
Oh, why does Kasumi say she's gonna kill herself?
Because she's embarrassed.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's embarrassed that somebody caught on to her secret.
Yep. I have to die.
Yeah, and then they try to get her to stop, and then it's just like... And then, of course, they want to be more supportive of her hobby. So they are just like, okay, maybe we can help you write your story.
Yeah, with the boys... What do you guys know about boys' love?
And then Hanako starts telling a story about, like, you could make a story where the protagonist shoots lasers out of his ass. And then... out of nowhere, her butler shows up, just like magically appears.
He's so cool.
Except he isn't.
I love him. I just love his like deadpan face and his true love for Hanako that he would lie about. Tell her the true rules of shogi. So then he goes on explaining. He's like, oh, I don't have much experience with boys' love, but I can tell you a story I heard once. And then he goes to tell about how he was abducted, there was someone who was abducted by aliens when they were a kid, or not when they were a kid, when they were like...
in college.
In college, yeah, and then aliens put a secret weapon in their ass,
And that would cause him to, anytime he had to go to the bathroom, it would destroy toilets. He could never go back to his normal way of life. And then he was just ruined. And it's just like, I could never go back to my way of life. And then some kind old man shows up and says, I can help you. I can help you turn your life around. I can help you control the weapon in your butt.
I can help you control your ass.
And then, which sounds again like Keijo, but then it's just like, and that was Hanako's grandfather.
Yep. And then family lineage.
Everybody is surprised that it's like, yep, this story was 100% true.
Yeah, like, wait, that was real? That was a real story?
And then Kasumi is just like completely mortified by the story. And
when the butler shows up, Kasumi's like, just kill him! Stab him with the umbrella! Because just her immediate reaction to guys is, kill the guys because she doesn't want to be around them.
She is like deathly afraid of men for some reason. And then, when he shows up again, she's like, stab him with the eraser. But, instead she's just like mortified by the fact that he told that story, and it's just like, and then from then on, and the narrator's like, and then from then on, Kasumi's fear towards men was even more exacerbated.
Made worse.
Yep. And then what's even funnier about that is somebody asked her, it's like, wait, you're afraid of men, so why do you like BL so much? And it's just like, if they're 2D, it's fine.
Yeah, and it's even better if they don't like girls at all.
So yeah, Asobi Asabase continues to be funny, continues to be completely random, but enough of the true rules of shogi. Let's bring on something a little bit more epic.
Oh, yeah.
Attack on Titan Season 3.
Ah! Oh my god, this show literally had me screaming in excitement, or this episode, because the episode starts off with Levi
getting attacked by Kenny.
Yeah, and trying to escape from Kenny, and then they show the sweeping camera shot when he slides down the roof and uses the maneuver gear to swing away. And I was like, oh man, that's
like Studio Wit. Yeah, Studio Wit's flexing their action scene muscles again.
Yeah,
and then it just keeps going.
Yeah, it just kept getting better and better, just showing Levi using his maneuver gear to like shoot a guy in the head.
Yeah, shoot a guy in the head, like just continue sliding around. Eventually he goes and then he just crashes through the door of
god, it was so cool! I forgot how much I enjoy the animation in Attack on Titan.
Yeah, it was a really good scene. I'm just like, oh my god, this is awesome.
And then and then Levi and Kenny have a kind of Western standoff with Levi hiding behind the bar and Kenny just throwing chairs at him, trying to spook him out, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and then it's just like, yeah, you're like a cornered rat now, Levi. There's no way for you to escape, because it turns out that Kenny's at the front, and then all of his, all the people he's working with.
Yeah, there's like 12 people.
Yeah, are like on the roofs, on like other vantage points. Basically, it's just like Levi cannot escape. So then what happens is Levi is like, kind of realizing this, he turns one of the bottles around to make it look so that he can get a better look at what Kenny's doing.
From the reflection.
Yeah. And then he actually shoots at him, because as it turns out,
whips the shotgun out from the barkeeper.
Yeah, because as it turns out, yes, barkeepers are allowed to keep guns under their at their bar for self-defense, which is something that Kenny had forgotten about apparently, and he was actually impressed that Levi remembered something like that.
It shows more about Kenny's reflexes too, because Kenny, with a chair in his hand, blocked a shotgun blast from Levi from pure reaction, because he didn't know the gun was there.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that Kenny was that mass murderer who went around killing military policemen.
Yes, Kenny is incredibly dangerous. And then one of his squad mates shows up. It's just like, you bite the dust yet, boss? Is like, you idiot. I wouldn't be able to answer that if I was dead. Mm-hmm. And so Levi manages to escape, and then a bunch of
killing a few more on his way out.
Yep. In typical Levi fashion.
Yeah. Typical Ackerman fashion.
Yeah.
Really.
That's a good point. And yes, this was actually the episode they revealed that Levi's last name was in fact Ackerman.
Was it? Was this episode?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
We had never seen that his last name was Ackerman before.
Okay. I get the timeline mixed up a lot from reading the manga that goes so much further ahead.
Yeah, I'm as someone who hasn't read the manga, I don't know that. But yeah, as far as I remember, yes, this is the first time we have been introduced to the fact that Levi's last name is Ackerman.
Okay.
So, and then he meets up with Mikasa and company, and basically says that Eren and his story are in danger, like they are about to get captured, and
which they do. And then it immediately pans to them getting captured.
Yeah, and then it's just like, we need to go rescue them. Like, we need... Of course, Mikasa is the first one to, like, just give chase.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's her obsession with Eren.
Yeah. And then it just basically, it's like, all right, we're going to be going up against people now, guys. We cannot have you hesitate for even a second. If you do, you will die. Levi is basically trying to say, yep, be very, like, going forward, we're just not going to be fighting Titans anymore.
Which everyone seems to get, except for Jean.
Yeah. And then Jean goes down and then actually manages to get on board the cart along with Armin with that has Eren and Historia on it. They managed to pin down the lady that's driving the cart that hijacked it and holds a blade to her neck. It's just like, don't move.
Yeah, and John's just like, he doesn't want to kill her. He's just sitting there with a sword because, I mean, at the end of the day, he doesn't want to let go of his humanity.
And they're still teenagers.
Yeah, and like, I think up to that point they've never killed another person.
Yeah. Like, they've never been faced with that possibility.
Yeah, because all their enemies before have always been gigantic titans. It's just this massive enemy that's always been there, and it's a lot easier to dissociate them with humans. It's just like, this is the thing that's eating us.
Yeah.
This is the thing that we have to kill. And it's kind of like imagine going out and seeing a tiger about to, eat one of your friends. You're not going to think twice about shooting the tiger.
Yeah.
You're just going to shoot it because it's an animal. And that's what they treat the Titans like.
But with a human being, at least the first time, you're going to, of course, have your reservations about wanting to kill a fellow human being.
Yep. John hesitates, and she also hesitates. She knocks John's sword out of his hand, stands up, holds the gun to him, and then...
You hear a gunshot, and it goes to commercial, or...
Yeah, transition or whatever.
Yeah. Or where it would have been commercial.
It shows, I think it goes to Armin throwing up.
Yeah. And then, throwing up. And then it kind of reveals that Armin was the one who had actually pulled the trigger. He found a gun and shot her before she could shoot John.
Yep.
And he's just like, and Mikasa's with him, and he's just saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
It's a really big defining moment for Armin, too.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning of the series, Armin's like this meek little cowardly guy who he's smart, but that's kind of all he has.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much else going for him. Like, he's got a lot of determination and perseverance, but he's kind of weak. He's very quiet. And yeah, he mainly just joined the army because his friends joined the army and he didn't want to be alone.
And this one moment where Armin shoots somebody, I think it's the beginning of Armin slowly slipping into nihilistic views. More realistic.
Yeah, and then there was kind of a little bit of that in season 2, though, if you remember, when he was basically was lying to somebody that's like, yeah, we have your friend, we're torturing her and stuff like that. So he starts to get there starts to be a little bit of a hint of coldness in him at that point, but this is even more so. It's like, here he actually killed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And
then Levi just straight up tells him that Jean is only here because you didn't hesitate and she did. Because Armin says, like, she hesitated, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that make me
less human?
Yeah.
But basically he's trying to say, yes, be proud of the blood that's on your hands now. Don't ever worry about going back to the person you were. Yeah. It was for the better that you are.
You're a murderer now.
And then it's just like, and then Armin comes to the realization, we're all criminals now. We're not good people.
Oh, that's after the next scene, which is the torture scene.
Oh,
where you walk in on Levi, or the camera shows on Levi, just saying like, oh, sorry, I'm not very good at this.
Yeah.
And then, what's her name?
Hanji?
Hanji shows in.
Like, give me those.
Like, I'm sorry. I have to tell you in advance I'm not good at this, but let's work together and make something happen in typical crazy Hanji fashion.
Yep, it's very crazy Hanji fashion here.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'll never talk. You can never get me to say anything. And then Hanji's like, we're wasting time. And then he just pans away and you hear a bone break.
Yeah.
And that's when it shows everyone.
Yeah.
Like, they know it has to be done, but they're still, like, sick to the stomach about it.
Yeah, it's just such a huge moment for them. Like, it's like, oh god, I can't believe we're actually doing this. And then, one of the best parts of the episode is when they actually do get him to talk and confirm their suspicions, because it's just like, alright, because Hanji at first tries to be like play sympathetic for him. It's like, I'm not very good at this. Like, I can't rip his fingernails off like you can. How many of you had to do to get good? How many of you had to rip off to be good at this? He's like, too many to count. And so she tries to be sympathetic to him, and it's just like, okay, time for a break.
That was Levi, yeah.
Yep. And then so they leave, and then they start talking with one of his cohorts.
The other guy they captured.
Yep. And then he doesn't really see what's going on. He only overhears like the conversation they're having, like kind of sees them talking through like a crack in the door. But then it's revealed that it's just like we already basically know what you're talking about, like, because you already told us. You had already cracked after just ripping off one of your fingers, you coward. And then that kind of breaks the guy's spirit.
Yeah, the guy's like, well, I don't care. That's his decision to be tortured.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go through all that. And then they show him walking up the stairs, and Levi has a knife to his back, and the guy's reading from a script.
Yep. It was basically just to show. It was basically to use the criminal's dilemma against him. It's like, you can get off a lot easier if you sell out your friends.
Yeah, and that just broke the other guy. Because the next morning when they walk in to torture him, he immediately spills everything.
Yep.
Revealing that Historia is the true heir to the kingdom.
Yep.
Yeah, Historia is like the next in line, I think.
Yep, next in line for the royal family. And it shows her father, and Eren all in the same room. Eren's gagged and bound, but Historia and her dad are sitting there, and he's just like, I'm sorry for everything.
Also important to note, they didn't get Eren and Historia back.
No, they did not.
Yeah, like, they got on the cart, shot the person, and then a lot more people arrived and they had to back off.
Yep, and
give it away. So nobody else would die.
Yep.
Levi was like, no, it's too dangerous, we gotta back off.
And of course, they had to restrain Mikasa as that she just watched Eren disappear into the darkness.
Again.
Yeah, that just seems to be like, hey, Eren's captured for the 50th time. That's such a good point. It's just like, it's like a common in shonen for there to be like a rescue arc or a retrieval arc or whatever. This seems to have one every few episodes.
Not quite every few episodes, but it definitely has a couple, which I was really happy about. I was worried when the show first started that it was just going to be, oh, Eren's got Titan powers now. Eren's going to be fighting as a Titan in every episode. But they made it out so Eren's not omnipotent.
Yeah.
He's still really useless I guess not useless, but he's such a big target that he's always being...
He's a liability.
Yeah, he's being picked off by everybody because they need him for reasons that have yet to be explained.
They did bring up something kind of important, though. Like, they said that Historia was captured for an obvious reason, but Eren was captured for a less obvious reason. But Hanji remembers a conversation that Eren had talked about with Ymir about Titans eating other Titans or something like that. And it was just like, and that was how she, as far as we know, had gained the, what was her Titan form again?
Who?
Ymir. From last season.
Oh.
Like the...
I want to say it was like the Leaping Titan or something.
Yeah, something like that. And so she had to eat another Titan to become a Titan shifter.
Yeah, it happens when normal Titans eat Titan.
Yeah. Eat Titan shifters. And then it's just like now Eren might get eaten because that's specifically his reason. So from as far as I know, there's somebody out there who wants to have Eren's power.
Yeah. Like, whatever that is.
Yes. So anyway, enough on Attack on Titan.
That's pretty much what happened, yeah.
Yep. So next up, badass gangster fights. Yes. Banana Fish. Oh my god, this show continues to be awesome. It's everything I expected. It reminds me very much of Baccano or 91 Days.
Yeah.
I mean, except a slightly more modern take of those, which I really appreciate.
Mm-hmm. So the episode starts off with a quick action scene where they're at Ash's apartment, was it?
Yes, it was Ash's apartment.
And AG was kidnapped by one of Dino's underlings.
Arthur and his cronies were all there. And that was what happened at the end of the episode before that. AG had gone to the apartment to go pick up something, but Arthur and his goons were already waiting there. Mm-hmm. And then
AG was going to find the Chinese guy.
Yeah. Shorter Wong, as it turns out his name was.
Yeah.
And then, so they go there, and then it's a bunch of Arthur's goons are there, and they were trying to find the vial that Ash had gotten in the first episode. And we see a guy with glasses and red hair. Immediately, and they do not know who else is in the apartment with them. They see Griffin. Griffin notices him and immediately who had been like catatonic, starts walking
snapped
up.
Him into it.
Yeah, he started he like got up and started walking towards him and basically pointed at him and said, banana fish. Banana fish.
Banana fish.
But yeah, and then they were getting ready to shoot AG and Griffin, but then Shorter shows up. That's that's the guy with the purple mohawk.
Yeah, Ash's underling, I think.
Yeah, Ash's friend and underling.
Yeah.
And so Shorter comes in and saves the day, but Griffin gets shot in the process, but Arthur and his goons have to retreat, but not before getting the vial.
Yeah.
And so
they took the drug.
Yep. And so then it's revealed that it's like, how did you know? So AG goes up to Shorter not long after that and asks, like, how did you know where I was? How did you know to follow me? Like, I looked in Chinatown and you weren't there. It's like, oh yeah, I was there. And then he puts on, like, the disguise from, like, the Chinese.
The Fu Manchu. I imagine if it was, like, an English dub, he's gonna be like, oh, hello, I am Chinese man.
Oh god, that's gonna be so offensive. But anyway, so it's just like, oh, and it's just like, oh wait, that was you? It's like, yeah, I put on this disguise because I knew you were being followed. Yeah. And so but I was keeping tabs on you after you left. And so really good planning on Shorter's part. I really liked that. I thought that was cool. And then we cut back to Ash in prison.
Oh yeah, Ash in prison, getting, a new roommate.
Yep.
Everyone calls him the Bull. And he shows up and it's like, for just seeing this guy at first you're like, yeah, that's a prison rapist.
Yeah.
He's just like the big old bear hairy guy.
Yeah, like giant forehead.
We're gonna have a lot of fun.
You said like 6 head.
Oh yeah, he had his forehead was so big.
Yeah, and his hair was like all slicked back and just like, oh yeah, like obvious. It's like, yeah, obviously this guy's a rapist. Look at him.
So Ash, plays along for a little bit and it's like, oh yeah, I know how to handle guys like you. And he's like, oh, I can't wait to get handled.
And then of course Bull lunges at him. He gets out of the way, ends up slamming him into
he wraps his head up and chokes him with the blanket.
Yeah, with the bedsheet, and then slams his head into like his prison mirror. And then it's just
knocks him out.
Yeah, and then he just starts it was a really cool fight. Like, and then a bunch of people are like standing out, they're wanting to watch the show. But then they weren't expecting that, clearly.
Mm-hmm. And Max shows up and he's standing outside, and Max is expecting to walk in on like a rape scene. Yeah. And he sees this guy with his bloody head on the floor. And Ash walks out of the cell. I want to point out that he didn't get punished for that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I'm assuming it was probably because the Bull, you know, prison works. At least fantasy prison. I've never been to prison, but you always see people paying off guards like, here, I'm going to go do this. Don't pay attention to this at all.
Yeah.
Give him cigarettes or money or whatever. So that's assuming that's why, because I want to give the show the benefit of the doubt and say that they're not just going to have stuff in prison happen with no consequences.
Yeah. Like, they had actually, and there's probably more evidence to that because Max actually, it was shown that he was paying off one of the guards to get out of the cell with Ash because he didn't want to do it anymore. It's like, this makes no sense. You wanted to be his roommate in the first place.
Yeah. He's like, come on, man, just do me this favor.
And it's just like, okay, fine. And so he transfers him out, and, but then, Ash continues to prove how much of a badass he can actually be. And then we see the even more evidence of this when he meets up with the guy who had raped him in prison, the person who had been spreading rumors that he had, given it up easily, which is why the Bull was so excited when he got that concept.
The guy and his friends, and they
I want to say his name was Garvey.
I don't remember, but they tell Ash, they pretend they're Max.
Yeah.
And they tell Ash, like, oh, hey, I need you to meet me in this warehouse or whatever.
And then they said a guy shows up. It's like, Max wants to meet you. He's like, I didn't want to spend any time. And then there's kind of like a brief pause. He's like, wait, where did you say you wanted to meet me again? Kind of like saying that Ash kind of knew what was going on. And so he shows up, and then it's just like they show up and they start beating him up. And then Garvey like pulls down his pants and gets ready to try to rape him again. Ash pulls out a fork and holds it to his neck.
Yeah, I feel like it's pointing at how Ash has, unfortunately had a long history of just being sexually abused.
Yeah.
Just raped all the time growing up. So he's got to the point where at a moment's notice he can basically turn the tables on anyone trying to, rape him or anything.
And it's just like...
He just pulls a fork out of nowhere and puts it up to the guy's neck.
Yeah, and it's just like... And he also wants to point out, it's just like... You gave it up so easy last time. It's like, yeah, that was just the one time. That's because I wanted to go to the infirmary.
Which confirms what you said last time when you thought, yeah, he did that on purpose.
Yeah. And I was just like, and again, Ash is really smart. It's really cool to see like a character who's got brains and brawn, which this season's not lacking for a shonen protagonist like that. But anyway, so after that scene, Max shows up not long after Garvey gets stabbed in the dick.
No, Max shows up while he has the knife to the guy's neck.
Yeah.
And then Max is like, all right, you guys get the fuck out of here. And Ash, knees the guy in the face.
Yeah.
Knocking him on the ground. The Goonies, or the goons.
Yeah.
They kind of back up and they're like, oh, what do we do? And then Ash is like, you pig. And he just leans down, stabs the guy in the nuts/dick.
Yeah. And he's just like, it shows him later just like kind of hobbling away.
Yeah. God. Yeah. Like he deserved it, but still,
It is unpleasant. And so then Max and him have a discussion, and then the two of them get in a fight.
Max tells Ash that Griff's dead. He's like, calm down, your brother's dead.
Yeah, after people had already told him, yeah, don't tell Ash this.
Which we already know Ash is a bit of a hothead, so Ash immediately gets pissed and starts walking off. And then they get into a fight because Max he doesn't want to let him try and break out of prison because they set up a system for like a bail.
Yeah.
So Ash is like about to get out. So
yeah.
So Max is like, well, I guess I have to fight him. And then they start fighting, and Max is like, I was in the Navy, so you can't just beat me up. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah. And then they both kind of fight to a standstill, and then. So just the lengths they're trying to go to get out, to get Ash out of prison and stuff, just like all the outside, like all the backroom deals and stuff like that. Really cool.
There's so much, thought into this show.
Yeah, there's so much intrigue. And then it cuts back to Ash and Max back in the cell together. Like, cause they are now roommates and Ash is just drinking Max is drinking some whiskey. And he's convinced that Ash is gonna kill him. Ash is gonna kill him. He's just
sitting there drinking his cares away. And
it's just like, the last bit of spirit died when I found out that Griffin was dead.
Yeah, because Ash hops out of the bed with his fork in his hand.
Yep.
And he just takes another shot. He's like, if you're gonna do it, just do it. I'm done. I'm too tired.
But then Ash kind of is just like, and he decides he's not going to because he's like,
Ash breaks down crying.
He's just like, I wanted somebody to hate and I wanted it to be you, but I just can't bring myself to it. It's
as soon as he let go of that anger, it showed because he wasn't crying throughout the whole time in prison, even when he got raped.
Yeah.
But as soon as he let go of that anger, he started crying.
And it's not like heavy crying, but he's crying.
You can see tears.
Yeah. And it's just like, and then he goes into a little bit of a heartwarming story. It's like, my brother's the reason I'm here right now. If it wasn't for him, I would have starved. He raised me. But now that he's gone, it's just like, I can feel it. Like, and it's just like a really nice moment. And it's just like, and then Max goes up to him. It's like, yeah, you've been through a lot. It's like, I don't need your sympathy. It's like, that's not at all what this is about. Yeah. It's like, here, drink up.
Shot, and they finally drink like buddies.
Yeah.
And then Ash, reveals how he got the drug from a man named Stephen Thompson.
Yeah.
And the guy gave him the drug, told him to go find Banana Fish, and then
gave
killed.
him an address. I mean, he was dying when he met up with him in the first place. He was the guy in the first episode. And then, he gives him an address, and from that point forward, it looks like Ash is eventually going to get out of prison and then start his revenge.
Yep.
Now, what's better than crazy mafia stories?
I don't know. What is?
Well, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily better, but it's certainly funnier. Chio's School Road.
Yep. It continues just to show how Chio is a super awkward high school girl.
I thought she was in middle school. But
middle school?
Yeah.
Close enough.
Anyway, so it starts off with Chio and Monina just kind of walking to school and talking like they always do. And they say, like, so what do you want to do before you die? What's on your bucket list, pretty much? And I don't remember exactly what Monina said.
Monina was like, I think it was something along the lines like, I want to be whisked away on some romantic adventure by a guy I never knew, and something romantic and, something like a normal teenage girl would want. And then it pans over to Chiyo, and she's like, I want to pick up someone's cigarette when they flick it out their window and throw it back in.
And say, hey, you dropped something.
Yeah, like
and
a badass.
And then Monana's just like, wait, that's it?
Yeah, that's not normal.
Yeah.
But
and
then
then
we all know Chiyo's not normal.
But then what's even funnier is that she sees, but that'll never happen. It's like, I don't know, that opportunity might be closer than you think. And then there's a lady in a car smoking a cigarette, and it's like, it looks like she's about to throw it out. It's like, you could always prove yourself. Chiyo hesitates for a little bit, but then she starts bolting to the car as she's throwing out the cigarette, and then, goes and dives to grab it, hits her head on a light post.
And she hits her,
or a clavicle.
Her clavicle. Yeah, she's like, oh god, my clavicle!
Hits
her.
She
stands up, tries to throw it away, but the old lady drives off too fast, so she just keeps the old cigarette.
And then it's just like, we have this cigarette. It's like, well, what are we going to do with this?
Yeah, what are we going to do with this old cigarette?
It's like,
throw it away?
It's just like, it's not even lit anymore. And then she starts playing with
they try to justify it.
Yeah.
Because Chiyo's like, well, if it's not lit and somebody threw it away, it's basically just garbage.
Yeah.
And then Mana, the shitty person that she is, she just wants to see Chiyo do stuff. She's like, oh yeah, Chiyo, you're totally right. You're right. It's just garbage.
And so then they do what anybody in this situation would do. They start taking pictures.
Yeah, Chiyo wants to take badass pictures with her.
Yeah. And then it's just like, all right. And so you just see her in a bunch of different poses. And then it's just like, she actually looks badass. And then they look at the picture and they start laughing because one of the pictures that she took where she looked badass, there was just a cat in the background and it was throwing up. Dumbass cat ruined the picture. It's like, oh wait. It's like, okay, wait. It's like, do one, you're stepping out of the making your entrance from a manga. And so
she walks forward all cool.
And then it's like...
Which in her defense, kind of looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, because... Monana's just like, yeah, Chiyo is totally the kind of person that thinks that smoking looks cool.
Which I love at first, Monana just wants to make fun of her, and then, when she sees a cool picture, she's like, whoa, she actually looks cool! And
it's just like, I never allow somebody to take so many illicit pictures of me like this.
Yeah, but she ends up being convinced.
And then, they both start acting it's like, oh, we're gonna be late. And then as they're walking and talking, they just they don't want to get rid of the cigarette because they want to keep, it's like, they want to do another photo.
It's their treasure.
And they want to do another photo shoot later that night.
Yeah.
And then they don't throw it away. And immediately after stepping on campus, their gym teacher, I guess.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the guy with the sword.
Yeah. And he's just like, I smell tobacco.
Yeah, he's like, oh, where is it? And he goes around sniffing the different students, and he walks up to Chiyo, and he's just like,
it's you.
You have tobacco on you. And then Chiyo goes
kind of meekly gives it up.
Yeah, and she's like, and then she just explains everything that happened. I don't think she explains the picture part, but she explains how she found a cigarette.
Yeah.
Picked it up. And the teacher was like, oh, how good of you for picking up trash on the ground and throwing it, and bringing it to dispose of it. And she was like, well...
It's like, you're not going to question this at all?
Yeah, I could have smoked it. I'm badass. And he's just like,
you're too much of a good girl for that. Yeah. It's like, I'm a bad girl.
Yeah, she makes a pose a gun out I'm a bad girl.
And then everybody starts laughing. And then she gets ready to start just showing everybody the pictures that she took. And then Monana's like, no, you're not taking me down.
Her desperation to prove that she's not a...
She's not a wuss.
Loser, boring loser.
But that was only the first half of the episode. The other half, we get to see Ando once again.
Everyone's favorite Yakuza...
Or motorcycle gang member.
Yeah, Yakuza, not Yakuza. They never actually say Yakuza.
But honestly, I think it's really cool that that he's just a reoccurring character like this, and he's got I've said it before, it's kind of like Hinamatsuri, where the jokes and stuff and the character plot lines continue.
Yeah, there's a semblance of plot in all the randomness.
Yeah, it's not like Asobi, which is basically just pure chaos.
Yeah, so he's there doing his... So first off, it's Manana and Chiyo arguing about how nobody enjoys work.
Yeah.
Manana is like, I don't ever want to do it. I don't ever want a job because it seems like everyone who has a job is always unhappy.
Yeah.
And Chiyo says, well, I don't know. Some people have got to be happy. And so they make a bet of 100 yen. 100 yen.
That's $1, pretty much, by the way.
And so they're walking along.
And they see Ando. And Ando seems to be having a hard time with his job because he's delivering newspapers. He is not really quite getting the hang of it. He's just, feels kind of lost about it. it feels so different than what he's used to. So then Chiyo...
Yeah, he was never integrated as a full member of society
And
before.
he realizes that, and he starts kind of actually getting upset. And then Chiyo's just like, okay, it's like, we'll help you. Let's do this together. And she ropes
She
Monona.
seems like a genuinely good person.
Yeah, and then she ropes Monona into this. It's like, we'll help you. And then Monona just kind of goes along with it. And then they go and deliver some papers and to a couple of old people. And the old people are not happy. They're very badly...
They're old people.
Yeah. And then it's like people born during, I think, the Endo period. They expect their papers to be delivered at a very specific time.
Endo's like, why? Why did you deliver it to them in person? Why?
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea.
And then they go to meet their last guy. It's just like, okay, he's waiting for me. He's very upset. And so it's just like, all right, we need to get this stealthily.
Chiyo shows off her amazing athleticism again.
Amazing athleticism and gamer knowledge.
Yeah. She does a vault off of Monona's hands, does a sweet flip and rolls over and sneaks the mail into the box and then sneaks away.
And then Ando catches her, and then the old guy looks behind him. He's like, what the paper's here already? When did it get here?
I wanted to be angry and old.
And then Ando gets some newfound confidence, and it's just like, the job's hard, but I think I can certainly get better at it if I try. Thank you so much, Chiyo. And then he just kind of walks off, all happy and stuff. And then she's like, would you say you enjoy your work? It's like, yeah. And then Monona's kind of happy about it, but then it cuts over to Chiho, who is like smugly smiling.
100 yen, please.
Yeah, she's like,
because during the whole episode, or that whole part, it looked really heartwarming, and Chiyo was smiling and being really nice to Ando, and because it got to the point where Monona was like, "Is that your boyfriend?"
Yeah,
or I think she thought that. Yeah, but it was all Chiyo wanting to win the bet.
Yeah, and then it ends with Monona saying, "Chiho, you are such a shitty person."
not quite as shitty as Kasumi or
anybody from Asobi.
Yeah, anybody from Asobi Asobase.
But yeah, still pretty awful.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Hanebado, a show about sweaty girls and for doing badminton. Not unlike right now with summer. Everybody's sweaty and unhappy.
Oh, God. We have to turn off our fan when we're recording this podcast, so it's just like a sweltering desert in the house for an hour long.
Anyway, enough of that. So, this episode was actually it starts off with everybody on the team, Ayano and everyone else on the team just kind of riding the bus to go to a training camp.
Field trip!
Yep. And everybody's just kind of having a good time, laughing, taking pictures. And it's just like, and then Ayano just kind of realizes, I'm part of a team. Like, this is the first time I've ever felt something like this, but for once I'm just part of a team.
Yeah, you gotta see, and Hanasaki's just sitting there kind of not really paying attention to anybody. And they're like, hey, let me do your hair.
Yeah.
Which kind of gets Hanasaki into more...
Yeah.
She wants friends. She wants to be part of the team. That's what she wanted at the end of the last episode. So it's kind of cool seeing that.
And then, so they arrive at the training camp and find out there's another group there from Fredericia Girls High School. They wanted to do some practice matches. So they have one one-on-one match and 2 doubles set up.
And then the guys, which, I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
That's what the show treats the guys as like, they're there.
Yeah, which is a shame because it's kind of like Bamboo Blade in that sense, if you've never seen that. Like,
no.
In Bamboo Blade, it was much of the similar thing where there were mostly girls on the team, but there was also a couple guys.
Focusing on the girls though?
Pretty much, yeah. Exactly. And so they have Aragaki going up against one of their teams. They have, 2 other of the girls going up against a girls team, and then Hanasaki and somebody else from her school going up against 2 other competitors from Fredericia.
I was a little annoyed that they had Aragaki voices versus the other captain. They just said, "Oh yeah, Aragaki won,"
and they never showed that.
They just skipped the match. I feel like they could have. I want to see more badminton, damn it! Yeah, the animation is so good when they do it.
I want to see more badminton, and Aragaki's probably my favorite character so far. So I just want to see more
personality or design wise.
I'd say a bit of both. Yeah. Aragaki, because it also showed her on on the bus taking pictures with everybody, and they hand her like a cute little hair clip, and she's clearly not like the most girly person, and she's just like,
She's an adorable tomboy.
like, I'm not really used to stuff like this, so it's kind of nice to see a little bit of that from her. And so, but yeah, and then on top of that, she's also just really cool and really just good at badminton. So it was a shame that we didn't get to see her doing badminton.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they send out Hanasaki before the matches, before her match, to go out to a convenience store to go pick up some water. And so Aragaki draws her a map.
A super good map.
Yeah,
anyone can follow.
Yeah, map being a very loose term.
And it was like mountain is here, forest is here,
and it's just like
store is here.
I think somebody had actually pointed. I think Hanasaki might have even said this. It seems like a freaking middle schooler drew this, or a kindergartner even.
Yeah.
She was just not happy.
Aragaki, not the brightest.
Yeah, not happy with the map. And so while she's like lost and stumbling through the countryside, she meets up with a strange foreign girl, tall, blonde, long hair, kind of pretty, wearing sunglasses.
So like every foreigner.
Yeah, every
anime.
foreigner in anime.
Tall and blonde.
Yeah, tall, blonde, and pretty. And then it's just like, I'm lost too. Maybe we can go find a convenience store together. So
she seems really friendly.
And so they start walking along. They start talking.
She hands her a sucker.
Yeah, yeah. She got like a bag full of them, didn't she?
Yeah.
And so yeah, she hands her a
character trait, likes candy.
Yeah, hands her a sucker and hands her a sucker. They continue walking towards the convenience store, and then while they're at the convenience store, she it seems that this blonde girl recognizes Hanasaki for a little bit. It's like, I used to know somebody who said something like you did, and then realizes that she goes to someone else who goes to Hanasaki's school, and is just like, it's like, well, I guess I'll see you later.
Well, one of her classmates shows up at the store to pick her up, and then she says like, "Hey, Hanasaki."
Yeah.
And then I think the foreigner recognizes her name.
Yeah, and it's just
realizes who she is.
And then it's just like, I guess I'll see you later then. And then she just walks out.
She's instantly cold and just leaves.
Yep. And that was kind of weird. So then they go back to the training camp with the water, and then they say, yeah, Aragaki won the match. It's like, oh man. And then,
skip that.
And then they it's like, it was just in time for Hanasaki's match. And this is when we find out that she's actually going up against the foreign girl that she met, named Connie Christensen. And
where was she from?
She's
Denmark?
from Denmark,
yeah.
Yes. It turns out that it was actually a really popular, really talented badminton player from Denmark.
It's the same girl that was on the cover with Hanasaki's mom.
Yep.
She was taking pictures with her.
Yep.
Which I'm assuming that so she referred to Hanasaki as older sister.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that Hanasaki's mom was disappointed in Hanasaki, because Hanasaki lost.
Yeah.
So she left to find a new daughter.
Pretty much.
And then adopted this girl, or maybe she just took her in, not literally adopted her.
Trained her for certain. We know that she trained her.
And now this girl wants to beat Hanasaki.
And
probably to impress Hanasaki's mom.
Oh, and we didn't even touch on how terrible a person Connie is. She wants to beat Hanasaki and her teammate by herself.
Oh, yeah.
that
was so annoying to watch.
I had almost forgotten, Connie's teammate is actually trying to play the game and assist, and then Connie, after that point, just refuses to play. It's just like, you know what? If you're gonna interfere with this, then you can play by yourself.
Yeah, I'll just sit here. I'll just wait. You can win by yourself. So there goes I think you get 10 points or so.
And then
just beating this girl down.
And then she's profusely sweating. It's just like, this is impossible.
She rightfully freaks out at her, you're being a bitch. How can you keep doing this? And she's like, just ignores her again until she's like, okay, well, do you want to switch out?
Yeah.
So then she starts playing, and then her partner, the foreign girl, Connie, starts playing, and then her partner tries to also play, but she jumps up, smacks the birdie, and smashes it and gets a point. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, it just shows Connie dominating them in a 2v1.
Yeah, and then she kind of just mocks Hanasaki after that. It's just like, show me how important this team of yours is, big sister.
And that's where the episode ends, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's where I remember it roughly ending.
In the middle of the match.
Yeah. And And I am really looking forward to seeing how this.
I think
concludes.
next episode we're going to see a lot of character growth from Hanasaki, probably.
Yeah, I don't see her beating Connie. I really want her to, but I don't see it happening as of right now. Like, hopefully there will be some sort of like, okay, maybe we need to actually learn how to work together better and actually like outsmart her. I'm hoping to see a lot more of just an entire episode dedicated to this match.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I want from this.
I want
next
to see
episode.
Connie get her ass kicked. 'Cause
I really
sucks.
do. Connie's a terrible person. She deserves to be taken down a peg. Now, on a slightly different note, we have psychological horror and existential angst.
Terrible people everywhere.
Yeah, Happy Sugar Life. Once again, where everyone's fucked up and the morals don't matter. Happy Sugar Life. So we pick up in the park where the last episode ended. Mitsuboshi had met up with Shio and had started getting the crap kicked out of him by the two guys who were beating up on Asahi, Shio's older brother.
Mm-hmm.
So they show up and they start beating him up because he was that annoying blonde kid.
And that triggers Shio, because Shio was around so much family abuse, so as soon as she sees blood and people beating up someone, she like flashes back to her dad beating up her mom.
And she's just like freezing there and she's just saying, somebody help me, somebody help me. And
then she just screams.
And then apparently loud enough to be heard across town because
and the brother's like, my sister! Where is she?
And then immediately starts running towards the screen. But then what happens is it shows like Shiho just kind of watching this happen, and then this ghostly figure who is almost absolutely confirmed to be her mom at this point, like starts talking with her again, and then it like throughout most of it, like her face was obscured, like kind of blacked out, like with black and red scribbles like on her face. But then it finally revealed what her face looked like beneath that, and it's just like these cold, dead, just kind of angry.
It's weird because the narrative before was kind of pointing in the direction that the dad was the bad person.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that the dad and the mom both sucked.
Well,
and Asahi was the only really good person in the family.
Possibly. And I think that what it was as well is like, it was more, I think, to the fact that, Shiho's mom, or ghost mom rather, had said to her, it's like, you told me that you'd never let go of my hand and you did. And it was just like, and just kind of really menacingly, just kind of looking down at her daughter with just like the most disdain I think I've seen.
It might have been after they got away.
Yeah.
Her mom was like, an abuse victim, so maybe she started abusing Shio.
Maybe. That could be possible.
And they had just, like her mom had snapped, so she was a shitty person too.
Maybe. So then we see, Sato to the rescue.
Quote unquote rescue.
Yeah, quote unquote rescue. So Sato.
She shows up like, hey boys, you want to have some fun?
And she's like wearing a gray hoodie and stuff. You can kind of see her hair, but you can't really see her eyes or anything like that. And then one of the guys like, doesn't this girl look dangerous to you? It's like, nah, she's a great catch.
I could fuck that.
And then
he walks up to her.
And then he starts basically like, he pins her up against the tree. But then she tases him, like, and he falls to the ground. And then she tases the other guy, and then proceeds to do something that was pretty difficult to watch. I mean, it doesn't show much of it, but she she has like a knife and starts putting it towards their eyes.
Oh yeah, and then the knife is like right next to his eye, and I can't handle eyeball stuff. Like, Dead Space?
Yeah.
Have you seen Dead Space where,
oh god, I don't know.
Dead Space, spoiler alert! Isaac, that's his name, right?
Yeah, Isaac.
He has to sit in a machine to stab a needle in his eye for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. Like, I got through it eventually, but just stand there watching, they show everything. They show the eyeball or the needle slowly stabbing into Isaac's eye, and I'm just like, oh god, no! Just imagining anything touching my eyes. Ugh. So just showing Sato, and she slowly brings the knife, and then you hear like the stabbing noise, and then the guy screaming.
But then when it cuts to, I think was honestly a brilliant piece of directing. Like it cuts to the street lamp above them, and then the street lamp goes dark. I think kind of,
That's a good point.
It was I thought that was a really cool little moment. And then it shows like Sato get up, sees Shiho, who is at this point passed out. Like, probably because of anxiety freak out and post-traumatic stress. Mm-hmm. And then, picks her up and starts, running home with her. And Mitsuboshi looks up kind of kind of wounded and kind of in a daze, but he sees Sato running away with her. And then cuts to the next morning or next day when they're like, when Shiho and her coworkers are at work talking. Or I think before that it might have also talked about the teacher.
Oh yeah, creepy teacher guy
Yeah.
who just wants to be stepped on more.
Oh God. And yeah, he's like, it points out, it's like, yeah, I threw away the trash. I did what she asked. I didn't look inside or anything like that, but I could tell that something was messed up.
I think that it's gonna be a Light and Misa situation.
Yeah.
Where the teacher's gonna get her screwed over because he's obsessed with her.
Maybe. That could also be. The web of intrigue in the show just continues to get even bigger and bigger. But anyway, so then it cuts to her at work with her coworkers talking about like, hey, be careful going home tonight. I heard something about a violent crime in the area. Two guys had their eyes gouged out. And then Sato just
the crazy ice scoopers.
Yeah, and then Sato just kind of brushes it off, pretends like that didn't happen and that wasn't her.
That's crazy, yeah. That's just a rumor. People wouldn't go around scooping out people's eyes for no reason.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
And then they start talking, and then talking some more and get ready to go back to work. And the night before it's revealed that that Shiho is like, Sato and Shiho get back home. They start talking. Shiho says, I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have left the house or anything like that. And then Sato's like, that's okay. Everything will be all right.
Plays it off, which is completely unhealthy. Because she's like, well, I don't care if you did something bad. It's okay as long as I have you back.
Yeah, exactly.
Because let's be real. She thinks it's a happy relationship, but really she's just using Shiho.
Yeah.
She's using her to fill a void that she didn't know existed.
Exactly. And that's pretty much everybody in this show, though.
Yeah.
It cuts later, and it shows her putting on a new lock on the door to their castle.
She's smiling.
To their castle, as she puts it. It's one that cannot be locked from the inside, or unlocked from the inside, only outside. And then it cuts back to Mitsuboshi, who is recovering, taking a couple days off from work, and he is.
It shows his room.
Yeah,
which is the walls are just covered with the missing posters of Shiho.
Yeah, and then he's got one under his blanket. He's just obsessing over it. And then he kind of has a moment of lucidity where he's like, "Wait a second, though. Even though she's a missing person, Sato was there and took her away. So again, Sato is in on this.
Yeah.
Like he
Detective Mitsuboshi
is on the case, and also a pedophile.
Detective pedophile Mitsuboshi.
This is a little bit of an aside, but I found out recently that two of the voices are actually very familiar. The voice of Mitsuboshi is actually Kosei Arima from Your Lie in April. This guy apparently likes to voice characters who have abusive relationships with older women. Like, abuse isn't funny, but it's good God. It's
I like to imagine they're in the recording studio and they're like, can you just pretend you've been raped a little more? Give us your I've been raped voice.
Oh God, it's hard. And then or just even I've been abused, because again, Kosei in Your Lie in April was
his mom beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, was beaten horribly by his mother. Also, something that we didn't point out in this episode. So Sato and Shiho's life goes back to normal, in about as normal as it can be. They start talking some more, and then she's like, Shiho-chan, did you tell anybody else about what happened? It's just
she says no.
Yeah, she lied to her.
So she either lied to her, or all that just got suppressed.
That is also possible.
It was a really shitty situation, and she's damaged.
Yeah, that's also possible. Like, she either lied to her or does not remember, which either one is possible at this point. Mm-hmm. And also, going back to the voice thing, Sato is voiced by Nadeko Sengoku from the Monogatari series.
She does a good crazy voice.
Yeah, she does way too good of a crazy voice. But the episode ends. The episode ends with
another addition to the cast.
Yeah. One of Sato's coworkers who is obsessed with her.
Yeah, she's just like, the camera pans over to her, and she just walks up to Sato's locker, picks up her jacket, and just...
Yeah.
She's like, oh, Sato-chan. It smells so good.
And
I was like, well, at this point, why not? Throw in more.
Yeah, throw in more crazy people. And then there was one more thing that happened in this episode. We see we see Chio in the bedroom by herself, and she's just kind of just saying everything is spinning, just like she always does. And then she hears that Sato's home, so she runs out all happy and stuff, like that nothing
never happened.
And then it pans into the closet where you just see this black outlined figure of something that she drew, which is more likely than not Ghost Mom.
Yeah.
And so that's where the episode ends. And honestly, this show just continues to just keep spinning a pretty cool web of intrigue.
Yeah, super compelling.
Yep. Next on the list, Hiroaka.
Hiroaka!
Oh, God. What more to say about Hiroaka?
More tournament arc.
Yep, another tournament arc.
It's so awesome. Like, the episode starts off with the Class 1A getting attacked by...
everybody else.
Yeah, everybody. And,
yeah.
And you get this guy that walks up and he has a quirk that lets him harden other objects.
Yep.
So he turns the balls into, like, rocks.
Yeah.
Hard rocks. And then freaking Crocodile Dundee walks up, throwing his boomerang quirk around. Straight out of Australia.
And yeah, it has the ability...
Except for their underground boomerangs.
Yeah, and then Deku's all like, oh crap, where are they? I can't block these. And then Jiro and Mina, they show off their special moves.
Yeah, which is a cool thing from the last few episodes where they showed everyone training their new super moves. And Jiro, she puts like her...
headphone jack, and then
the ground, right?
Yeah, and then it just basically releases like a shockwave throughout the ground so that it's like, it splits up everybody. But it was a
No, that was a different guy.
Oh.
Yeah, she just, the shockwave that she did, made all the balls pop up out of the ground so they could see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And then Mina jumps up and makes like a big barrier out of her acid, and then it melts him.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
And that's when the Earthquake guy is like, wow, Class 1A has gotten a lot stronger since we saw him on TV.
Yeah. They've been training, which, again, was to be expected.
Mm-hmm. And that's when that guy realizes, like, all right, they're way too good together. We need to split them up.
Yeah.
So he uses his quirk, which creates a huge earthquake, absolutely destroying the terrain, making, like, rocks shoot up out of the ground, and splitting everyone up.
Yep.
And, which is actually, I like his quirk.
Yeah.
It makes all the vibrations, but then he gets all the vibrations back in his body.
Oh, God, yeah.
So, like, after he uses it, it's basically like someone just grabbed his head and just went, and just shook his head really hard. Just, like, basically giving his head a miniature earthquake.
Yeah, that was a really cool scene. And then, after that, we see, Inasa, who is a really enthusiastic person.
His character design is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I love his coat and his hat and everything. He looks like an admiral.
Yeah, and he's just like he's, I guess for lack of a better term, passion guy.
Yeah, he shows up. I see you all enjoying this competition. Please allow me to join in and enjoy this competition with you. And then they're throwing a bunch of balls, and he grabs all the balls with his wind, which just, it looks like he has powers, equivalent to Todoroki.
Yeah.
Because, like, Todoroki can make giant firestorms or giant ice storms. He made, like, a tornado, pretty much. And like a localized tornado.
And then they all threw the balls at him, and he just threw them.
No, he didn't throw at him. He just took them.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
he took them.
They were just fighting each other, and he just shows up and uses a tornado, picks up all the balls, and throws them at everybody.
And then proceeds to knock out 120 people at 120
once. 120 once, because the announcer, he's like, nobody's out yet. Refresh. Oh, there's 120 students out.
But there's 100. It's like, by one person? And so he's just like, I'm fully awake and paying attention now. Yeah. And so, yeah, that happens. And then it's just like, still, there's only 100 people that can pass this exam. They have to knock out at least 3 people, if I remember correctly. And so that was the first one. And throughout the episode, it's just saying, yeah, more people just keep trickling in. So there's a time limit to how the rest of the class has to actually do this.
Yeah, which they're saying that's kind of like a misleading thing. So the point is to reinforce the idea in a lot of people's heads that you better hurry up and get your points or else you're not going to make it before everybody else does. Yeah. But what that's really going to do is make people rush in and just get their asses kicked.
Yep, exactly. And so then you see Deku off on his own, just kind of like looking around for it's like, okay, we've been split up. That was their plan. We need
panicked.
to.
He's like, well, we need to get back together. Yeah, that's where our strength is.
Yeah, it's like, we need to get back together as soon as possible. And so he starts looking around for people, and then, sure enough, finds people, just not from his school. And everybody is just, and they
Shinketsu High, I think it was.
Yeah. And they all start ganging up on him, and then Uraraka shows up.
Well, first I want to point out how it shows Midoriya's growth.
Yeah.
Because when they start attacking him, Uraraka shows up, and then he starts thinking, I have to think, I can't injure myself, I have to stop these attacks and get out. And then he flashes back to thinking, well, if I didn't injure myself when I was fighting Muscular...
Yeah.
Yeah, if he didn't injure himself when he's fighting Muscular...
I could have saved Bakugo.
Yeah, and then if Bakugo was saved, then All Might might not have had to fight All for One.
Yeah, and then
All Might the symbol of peace might have still been around.
Yeah.
So he's basically making this connection of, if I didn't suck so bad, the world would be safer, because the symbol of peace. And that resolve solidifies when he uses like his kicking his shoot style.
Yeah.
To basically kick the rock and knock a bunch of debris everywhere, so he can get up and save Uraraka when she pops up on the rock.
Yeah, and starts to fall. Mm-hmm. Now, and then it shows her, it's like he catches her sort of like a guy catching a princess, and then starts carrying her away, and Uraraka looks like totally infatuated and adorable, and then they start hiding behind a rock, and then he's basically saying out his plan. And then Uraraka's got this smile on him. At first we think it's a smile of admiration.
No, that's a little crazy smile.
Yeah. But then it turns out that she starts trying to put a ball against one of them Deku's targets. And turns out that it wasn't Uraraka at all. It was actually...
The old man Jenkins!
No, it was actually a girl who has the ability to disguise herself. I don't remember her name.
Cammy.
Yeah, Cammy. And then not long after those two fight, Deku's scared and stuff like that, and recognizes that he's going up against somebody relatively powerful. And she points out, it's like, even though you're scared, you're still smiling. Mm-hmm. And so...
Yeah, and it's just, that's what he wants to be.
Yeah.
He wants to be that smiling figure of peace.
Yep, exactly.
They do that in almost every scene, and I think that's really cool how they consistently make, even if he looks scared when he's smiling, mm-hmm. he's still forcing a smile.
Yeah.
Because he's if I keep doing it, I'll get used to it eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And then eventually, the real Uraraka and Sero show up. Also, another point out, once again, a character with brains as well as brawn, he figured out that it wasn't actually Uraraka pretty early on.
Because she didn't use her power.
She didn't use her power to float.
And also, Uraraka's smart enough not to just walk up to enemies
exactly. And then the real Uraraka and Sero is with her, also show up, and they are just like, okay, we need to get out of here.
Small detail I want to point out. When you see Sero show up, he shoots out, multiple things of tape.
Yeah.
He doesn't shoot out, one or two. He thinks he shoots out, 4.
Yeah.
Which, is actually a call back to, when he's training.
Mm-hmm.
He's training, you just see him when he's training, just going, just shooting out tape, and it just, never ends.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that small touch of... He's getting stronger, too. They're not just focusing on just Midoriya.
Yeah. Everybody's getting stronger. But then at the end of it, we see Todoroki fighting, I shit you not, a bunch of ninjas.
Yeah. This is actually a anime original scene. They didn't have it in the manga.
Yeah, you were saying that when we watched it. That's really interesting. But
I'm not complaining at all. It was awesome.
Yeah, we got to see everybody, this group of ninjas, for lack of a better term.
They were ninjas. They were just ninjas.
Yeah, but they were...
Which, are they all... I'm assuming they're all from the same school?
I'm assuming...
So is that the school uniform? Is it a ninja school?
I don't know. So anyway, and they were just and so they were standing on top of a bunch of buildings and silos and stuff like that.
An industrial area.
Yeah, and then he freezes. And then, of course, Todoroki, in true fashion, freezes them all in place. But then it turns out that's not enough, because there's somebody with a quirk that manages to get everybody out of the ice, and so he has to basically. You must think
just the guy who grows things. Did he just throw things at the people's feet? I think?
Yeah, exactly.
Using his growth jutsu.
Yeah, and then what happens after that is that Todoroki realizes they were just it's like, how dare you look down on us? You think that you must be so confident being off on your own, which it wasn't.
That's not what Todoroki says. That's what the guy.
No, that's what and then Todoroki's just like, okay, I've got to be really focused here, use everything, and
everything.
Yeah.
Like, even his fire.
Yep. Which Todoroki, as we've already established, he's slowly getting over that hang-up, but at the same time, it's still a bit of pressure for him.
Yeah, that's a cool thing I think they added in the anime here. By showing this scene, they gave a little more opportunity to show Todoroki's growth.
Yeah, Todoroki getting over his hang-ups and actually showing just how powerful he can be.
Yeah, it also, it's another excuse for awesome action shot.
Exactly.
That's why I'm watching Hiraka as an anime. This is because I want to see all of it animated. And the guy throws these nails and bolts and nuts at him because he's, tungsten steel or something like that? Because he's like, oh, it's just metal, but my flames didn't melt it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, haha, this is fancy metal. I got it specifically to beat you. And then he just throws like a nut at him. And it grows to like the size of a monster truck tire.
Yeah.
And then Todoroki, I think the episode ends with just him still fighting them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so next episode we're
going to see the resolution of that fight.
Probably Todoroki using
I'm looking forward to that.
Badass attack.
All right. After awesome action, we have some kind of down to earth mystery. Holmes of Kyoto.
Mm-hmm. No mystery this episode.
Yeah, this was very much kind of just a down to earth like slice of life. The mystery that I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, the poem.
Yeah, it was a lot more. I hesitate to say personal, but it wasn't like trying to like solve like a major problem. It was like a very personal thing to Holmes himself.
Yeah. The episode starts with Aoi. Aoi's sitting in the shop and she's working with Holmes, and then Holmes' ex-girlfriend walks in through the doors.
Yep.
Izumi, her name was, and she shows Holmes this box
with a really nice dish in it, and he points out it's like a Copenhagen. Well, then first she shows him two things. First, she wanted to have like a dish of praise from her wedding. Like it was a wedding present. It was like a Copenhagen dish or something like that.
From her great husband.
Yep. And then after that, she shows him something that she made and wanted to have him look at, and basically asks him a question: do you still like a certain type of poetry? I don't remember what it was called, but then she tells him a poem and gives him this dish, and basically it's just like, all right, it's like, well, we can talk more in a couple of days once you figure out the meaning behind the poem and this dish.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that resolves, we see Aoi having problems of her own. A bunch of her friends are showing up in town, and they want to see her. But she's worried that she's going to meet up with her ex-boyfriend and her former best friend, the people that
ended up together after the guy broke up with her.
Yep. And it was just like, and she's worried about having to see them and deal with them and stuff like that. And, but she really wants to see everyone, is the thing. So Holmes basically tells her that everything will work out okay. We just go there and see them. Don't let it get to you too much. You might not even run into them. Mm-hmm. And so she does, and gets ready to have a good time with everybody. And of course, those two show up.
So before we explain this scene, I want to say that I don't think that her friends are terrible people. I think they were trying to do their best, but they were afraid.
They were afraid, and they I think they just wanted everything to kind of go back to normal.
Yeah. So her ex-boyfriend and her best friend. Well, first she meets up with her old friends.
Yeah, and they're all happy to see her and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, it's a good thing you're here because this person really want to see you. I don't remember.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Aoi has an instant of realization, like, oh, they didn't come to see me.
They just wanted me to see them.
This is for them.
Yeah.
So her ex-boyfriend and her best friend show up.
They start apologizing, saying we were just so lonely. We and just all this other stuff, just making a bunch of excuses. And Aoi is just trying to shrug it off, pretend like, oh, it's okay. When in reality, she's like upset, like really upset.
Yeah, it shows her internal monologue where every time they say like, I'm sorry, she says, stop. Like,
just stop.
Just leave it here, because I'm sure they were trying to apologize to her sincerely, but the way they were doing it was just so...
It felt so scummy.
Yeah, because they're hiding behind
her friends.
and
they're
basically saying, sorry that we're happy.
Yeah.
Which, you don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, just be happy. Because, I mean, I'm sure she feels deep down that she's glad they're happy together. But the fact that they're going and apologizing to her, just, it's just, like, leaves a nasty taste in her mouth. Like, that's not the way to handle it.
Exactly. And then, of course, one of her friends says, it's like, okay, now that that's resolved and that we're all friends again, it's just like, oh, just God.
Brushes it under the rug.
It's just like, oh, God, no. And, of course, she's about to break down, and then Deus Ex Holmes shows up. Holmes shows up and basically gets her away from the situation, because he knows it's making her uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. He's like, it's like, I could just kind of tell that you've been listless lately, and I just wanted to make sure you were okay. And so he gets them away. But before that, her ex-boyfriend is like, you're not even, God. It's like, I'm not even, it's like, we don't even, it's like, you're not even away for a few months and you're picking up Kyoto boys.
Yeah. And that's just like, what the fuck, guy? They're like, you're not even gone for a month and you're already doing the same thing I did? What the heck?
And then Aoi's best friend slaps him and then starts walking away, and he starts going, wait.
That's not what I meant. I want both girls.
Oh, God. It is so scummy.
That part was just unforgivable, though.
And so Holmes takes her away. It's just like, let's go talk. And they just start,
they go off and enjoy the festival.
Yeah. And then Aoi breaks down. She's just like, she just starts crying, and Holmes just kind of hugs her and is just like, it's gonna be okay. You did really well today. It was very brave of you. Just comforts her, which was a nice scene between the two of them. I don't think there's any romance between Holmes. Like, Holmes doesn't have any romantic feelings for her, but I think it's hinted at that she starts to have feelings for him.
Well, yeah. Aoi is, she's definitely like slowly getting feelings for Holmes. And I think there's something there with Holmes.
I think
part of it is that he's trying to help her deal with the same situation that he dealt with, and he's just a genuinely nice person. Yeah, even though he's said as multiple times to be a nasty Kyoto boy. Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's trying to help her out. There might be romance later on. I
don't foresee it personally.
I hope the series ends with them going on a date.
Yeah, that might be kind of
not
nice.
necessarily going out. Yeah. But them going on an official date. I hope that's where the series just cuts off. I don't want there to be anything more about their romantic relationship. Yeah. But that's kind of a non sequitur.
All right. And then the last thing that happens in that episode is that Aoi actually realizes what the bull and what the poem were supposed to mean. It kind of shows her that she's actually pretty damn perceptive herself. It isn't just Holmes figuring out. So this was a nice moment for her to shine. She looks at the bowl, realizes that it's Sasamo grass. There were 2 shows this week that had Sasamo grass. Anyway, and then starts looking through poems, and then realizes that the message that Izumi was trying to send Holmes was basically, I still love you. I want to see if we can make this work. Like, I'm not happy with my husband and stuff like that. And which I kind of foresaw coming towards the very beginning of the episode.
Because he's like, I argue with my husband or I think about leaving my husband all the time. It's like, that's not good. That's not healthy.
Yeah, it's just like, that's not good. But then she figures it out and then approaches Holmes about it, and it's just like, did you know? It's just like, yeah, I knew. It's just like, but I wasn't going to just pursue like a fleeting fancy, because he could tell just from how the bull was crafted that it indicated hesitation and uncertainty, and that it wasn't real feelings. It was just her just trying to escape from a bad situation. Yeah, he told her that. Yeah, he just told her that, and then she stormed off in a huff. But then he's just like, yeah, it was probably for the better, and that's where the episode ends. Mm-hmm. All right. So after Small Town Mystery, we have Tales of World Domination. Overlord Season 3. Ainz continues to be awesome.
Ainz continues to get really good bluff checks.
Yep. So the episode begins with Ainz reprimanding one of the combat mains, Lupus Regina, somebody who we'd met a little bit in the previous episode, where she was assigned to watch over the village. She didn't communicate a specific, like, something that had happened there, because, in her words, she didn't think it was important. Ainz kind of spins it around and realizes, like, okay, it wasn't so much that she didn't think it was important, it was so much that I didn't communicate to her why it was important.
Yeah. Well, he reprimanded her originally because it's like she doesn't understand the basics of communication.
Yeah. But also because, and he also realizes that the way to kind of to get her to understand it a little bit more was to, yes, inform her why this village was important. Specifically, 3 people in that village. Neferia, who else?
Henry and Lizzie.
Yeah.
And the girl, the alchemist, and the alchemist's grandma.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So those 3 are important are important to his plans, and she needs to protect them and by proxy the village at all costs.
It goes to show more how Ainz, pretty much in every situation, Ainz uses the methodology of you catch more flies with honey than with
vinegar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he tells them what they did wrong, but he also says like it's fine. Everyone makes mistakes. He's really understanding, and that it seems after every time that happens, they seem more loyal to him.
Yes, and the reason why he reprimanded her in the first place was because of something that was brewing. The little goblin kid had talked about the giant of the east and the snake and the demon snake of the west, like forming an alliance and possibly going to converge on Carne Village. Mm-hmm. And that's why Lupus Regina didn't think that was important. So then,
and she's like, "Who cares about that village?"
Yeah, exactly. And then so Ainz then hears about this, and then it's just like, okay, this potential alliance, they're probably about as powerful as the elder beast of the south, the elder beast of the woods of the south, aka Hamuske. Yeah, his giant hamster.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Hamtara.
Yeah, and it's just like, all right, they might not be that big of a threat, but we might be able to use them. If they're about as powerful as Hamuske is, then we can use them potentially.
And part of the argument when he was telling Lupus Regina about why the village is important, they were talking about the potion. Mm-hmm. And I think Demiurge interjected, and he's like, "Why did you give that guy a potion? Or why did you give the one of the soldier girls, the red girl.
Yeah, the red potion. Yeah. Oh my god, that's right."
And he's just like, and then he immediately goes into this improvised story of how he gave it to her so she'd show it to the alchemist.
Yeah, so she'd spread rumors, and it's just like, and then it would actually be beneficial to us.
Yeah, so once again, Ainz just bluffing his way into being good at everything.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that's hilarious how that works out. It adds some pretty cool humor to a show that it has some really cool like action and plotting and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you have the persona of Ainz, this overlord.
Yeah.
This ruler is with a mighty fist. He rules everything. And then you have the persona of
Momonga, who his internal persona. That was his character.
Okay.
We don't know his real name as far as I remember. But
yeah, that's right, because his adventure name was
Momonga.
Momon?
Yeah, Momon.
Yeah. So yeah, you got the persona of Momonga, which on the inside he's like, "Oh god, I can't, I don't know how long I can keep this up."
He's just like,
they actually switch voices, which is cool.
He's just a scared, lonely salaryman who used this game to kind of talk with people and get over his own social anxieties. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool just watching him role play through this and bullshit his way through most situations with his clearly more intelligent subordinates. Anyway, so him and Aura go out to meet the giant of the east and the demon snake of the west in this cave that they were supposedly hiding. So they go there. Aura and him start talking, and it's just like, "So, Aura, have you ever thought about who you loved?" And she's,
who do you love most?
Yeah,
because he was thinking of like the villagers and how they want to protect each other.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Well, I love you, Ainz. Of course, I love you the most."
And then he just kind of offhandedly says, like, "I love you too, Aura."
Yeah, and that makes her freak out.
Yeah, she's like blushing and super embarrassed, and then
it's easy to forget that Aura is the sister, and the other one I forget.
Mari.
Mari is the brother. Cause Mari. I mean, obviously, whoever designed the character, she's just like, "Yeah, that's a trap. Let's make a trap."
Yeah, but yeah, that was kind of, and
they wear a skirt.
Yeah, he wears a skirt. It was like, it's a very specific style. Like the character wanted to make make the girl seem more boyish and the boy seem more girlish. And
so it's easy to forget that Aura is a girl.
Yeah.
A girl of a young 70 years old.
Yeah, exactly. 70 years is still a child for a dark elf, as Ainz points out. So they go in and they meet the giant of the east and named Gu. G-U-U, and it's...
The short name. Goo.
Yeah, Goo. And so he's just like, and then Goo's all like, yes, my name is a proud, noble...
It's a proud, strong name, because it's short, and it's only 3 letters. And
yeah, and
your name is Ainzol Gown, a silly, little girly, long name, which means you're weaker.
Yeah, exactly. And so while they're having their little debacle over there, Aura points out that the demon snake of the West is also in the cave, and just is like, yeah, I know you're hiding over there.
He just grabs him by the throat.
And then it's just like, I know you're hiding over there, and it turns out the demon snake of the West is actually a Naga, and that the giant of the East is just a troll.
A really strong troll.
Yeah.
A troll.
And then so immediately it's just like, so Ainz is trying to say, all right, we can work something out here. It's like, just submit fealty to me and I won't have to destroy you. And so, the Naga immediately is just like, okay, yes, we'll do that.
Just surrenders immediately. And he's smart. He knows.
And then it's like, I can detect a great deal of power from him. It'd be stupid to do this. But then Goo, being the proud idiot that he is trying to like, it's just like, no, I challenge you to a duel. And so he starts trying to pummel him, and none of his attacks are connecting, like, at all. And then Ainz just casts a really powerful spell that kills Goo and the rest of his ogres that are with him.
Oh, no. First Ainz just takes out, like, a staff.
Oh, yeah.
And just, like, whacks Goo and just blows parts of his body off when he sees him regenerating.
Oh, yeah.
And this happens, like, 4 or 5 times, where Goo's like, how could this be happening? I'm the mightiest. I'm the strongest in the East. And he just keeps beating on him, and then eventually, I think it's like level 8 Despair.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming is basically just Doom.
Yeah.
It's just, fantasy.
Yeah, it's just like, and then they all die, and then, the Naga is just like, he's even more afraid of him, and it's just like, yep, I'm gonna work with you. And so, the episode...
I think they're planning on using I think he said, yeah, we should use this troll body to try and make a troll zombie.
Yeah, it's like, is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
And so...
More experimentation.
Yep, exactly.
He wants to find out how the world works.
And then... After that, you see Ainz talking with Demiurge about a dinner that he's planning. Like, I think for the villagers of for Carne Village.
Probably specific. I think he specifically plans on bringing Enri, Infilia, and Lizzie.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
And he wants to bring them to Nazarick.
Yeah, and Demiurge wonders if that's wise, and it's just like, he's like, yes, it is, and then goes into, again, more bluffing, and then he gets a message from Lupus Regina saying that Carne Village is under attack, permission to engage, and the episode ends with him saying permission granted.
Which probably was Ainz sending the Naga guy.
Yeah.
Probably the Naga guy and then some undead or something, who knows.
Oh, yes.
He's probably sending a force to the village to teach Lupus Regina more.
Yeah.
About how he's, for as much as bluff checks as he does, he's surprisingly smart.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows the basic tactics, and he wants he knows the basics that he needs to reinforce Nazarick, teach his underlings more, and get everyone stronger.
Well, I mean, that comes from the fact that he was the guild master of Ainzol Gown.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so it's just like he knew how to like coordinate people like that. Like it was something that kind of helped him get over his social anxieties and stuff. But yeah, but he's using his knowledge as a gamer and as a guild master from Ainzol Gown to just use basically and carry on that knowledge to these NPCs who are now his underlings. Mm-hmm. So
I'm worried that goblins are gonna die.
I don't want the goblins to
die.
I
love the goblins. They're so adorable and wholesome.
The goblins are like this season's version of the lizard men.
Yeah.
Like I don't want them to die. I mean, the lizard men, when that happened, that was sad, but at the same time I knew it was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're all back now.
But yeah.
Yeah, he brought them all back.
Anyway. So next up on the list, as you put it, Magical Girl opera battles.
Oh, yeah. Less opera battles this episode.
I don't think there were any.
Yeah, there wasn't any. It was like, Homes of Kyoto didn't really have mystery.
Yeah, this was just kind of like an episode to kind of take a break and from the action and stuff and just kind of be more about the characters.
Which they focused a lot more on Hikari and Karen's relationship, whereas in the previous episodes they hinted at it a little bit what happened. So the episode starts off with Karen waking up
after losing her previous fight.
Oh yeah, because the previous battle.
Yeah,
and then Hikari's not in her sleeping bag or cot.
Yeah,
like I guess that's where she sleeps, is on the floor.
Yeah.
So she runs around looking under the couch. in the bathtub with someone already in the bathtub.
Yeah, just going frantically.
The person
everywhere.
like who's in the bathtub like lifts their leg up like, yeah, okay, she's not here. And so she runs around.
And then everybody in the dorm is just like, oh my god, she's being so annoying. She's being such a nuisance right now. Like, obviously, because she's been up for like over an hour just screaming and looking around.
Jason! Jason!
Pretty much.
Jason!
Yeah, pretty much that. So then it's just like, well, have you ever tried calling her? And apparently this is news to her.
Yeah.
She never stopped to consider that.
I mean, Karen's kind of like the stereotypical ditzy lead role.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she gives the sweet line, that was Banana-nice.
Oh, God.
To Banana. And she sits there like, Banana-nice. Like, it's those most amazing words that she's ever heard.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so dumb. But, so then she calls Hikari. Hikari doesn't really answer on the phone at first, so she just starts messaging her instead, and she starts sending her pictures of something she thought was a climbing wall at first, so she starts running towards that. It's just like, okay, don't forget, curfew's at 6, you have to be in the rooms at 6. And it's just like, okay, I'll try. So she runs off, and then is like running all around town trying to find Hikari, and is like basically just missing her throughout the entire day.
Yeah, just being led on a wild goose chase.
One of the more awkward parts of this episode was they actually eventually start talking on the phone, but their conversation just seems so disjointed that they're just talking about a bunch of different things.
Oh yeah, it was
together.
It was like a time lapse.
Yeah, still, it was just like, huh?
Yeah, what's going on?
It was just such a weird thing to listen to.
In between that, Kaoruku and Futaba, that was the red-haired girl.
Pink. Yeah, I think pink hair and then blue-haired girl.
Yeah, and they're walking down the hallway, and Kaoruku's like, oh, maybe I can get some brownie points if I rat on Karen.
Yeah.
She didn't say that, but...
Yeah, but pretty much.
And then Mahiru, that's her name was?
Yeah, Mahiru.
Yeah, Mahiru steps out, spinning her baton like, I am the guardian of the halls. None shall pass under my watch.
Yeah, and then it's basically like, you weren't trying to do this, were you? And so manages to scare them off is chasing them with the baton.
Gandalf them.
Yeah. And it's just, none shall pass. And then eventually Karen and Hikari meet up at Tokyo Tower. And
most of the episode is Karen following Hikari's clues.
Yeah, pretty much. And eventually they meet up at Tokyo Tower. They want to see the aquarium there. The aquarium's closed, so they go to a nearby playground and just start kind of talking more, hanging out. And then they're just like, well, we'll never be stage girls, will we? And they reveal the next major rule. If you lose 2 fights in the stage girl contest, then you're out.
Is that what it was?
I'm pretty sure. Like, if you lose your next fight, then you're done.
I don't think they revealed anything.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Oh, they might have. But I just remember Hikari saying, you can't lose again.
Yeah.
She said, well, the giraffe never said there can't be 2 winners.
Yeah. And so it was just like, we'll both make it to the top together.
In traditional optimistic shoujo girl fashion.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, well, we can do it if we have the power of friendship.
Yeah, and it's just like standing on top of the slide, holding her hand out, and then Hikari reaches up and grabs it.
It was a cute scene.
Yeah, it was a nice scene. And
then
another
pretty one.
Yeah.
Like, it's because just the camera angle and the lighting behind it was like this show
has high production values.
Yeah.
And then it cuts also, while that's happening, it cuts back to the girls at the dorm. And they are covering for the fact that Karen and Hikari are not there.
You sold Snake Tactics.
Yeah, and it's just like a couple girls are hiding under the blankets.
Pretending to be them.
Yeah, Kaoruko and Futaba, actually, because Mahiro freaking, I guess blackmailed them into doing it. It's just like, I can't believe
you're involved now.
It's like, I can't believe we're doing this. And then she manages to get everyone in the wing to help, because everybody just sort of goes along with it. And then, Claudia pretends to...
Claudine and Maya, they show up at the end of the hallway like, oh, and Claudine's like, oh, or it was like
she starts speaking in random
French words like, this bowl is dirty or something like that. It just like, what's wrong? Are you okay? She's like, I think it's all the stress of acting is getting to her. And then Kaoruku and Futaba sneak by and stand by their door, and they're like, Kaoruku, Futaba accounted for, and she turns back.
Okay.
Oh, okay. She's like, oh, I'm magically better now.
And And then the next morning, it turns out that Mihiru was waiting up all night for those two to get back, and you see them finally walking back. With a and it's just like, why did you guys get here sooner? It's like, we ran out of money. And then
they bought a plushie.
Yeah, Hikari was holding up a plush jellyfish.
You gotta imagine when that kicked in, they were probably like, oh, let's just get bus tickets to get back. Oh wait, we bought this plushie, so we have no more money for bus tickets.
So we have to walk.
Which I'm assuming that was probably Cardin's doing. Cause
she's
dumb.
Yep, and then everybody, like, kind of starts chiming in, and it's just like, it's saying, hey, welcome home, welcome back, everybody, saying that. And then the teacher rides by on her bike, and she's like, Kara and Hikari, it's like report to the school later after class for some special training, traditional training.
Yeah, and everybody freaks out.
It's like, what does that mean? It's like, a lot of upperclassmen quit the class because of this, or something like that.
We dare not speak of its name.
And then it's like, and bring everybody that covered for you. And the episode ends with Hikari setting down the jellyfish plushie, and that episode ends.
Well, something we didn't talk about earlier, it showed a scene with Maya and Claudine, which I really like their character dynamic, where Maya wants to be the number one.
Yeah.
She's the top girl, and Claudine's... It almost kind of seems like a Mario and Luigi situation, where Claudine's
it's just in her shadow. Yeah.
But Claudine's really determined to beat her.
Yes.
So, but Maya says... You know how much of a jealous person I am? And she talks about, just imagining someone else winning the top girl position just fills me with just ridiculous jealousy. And
yeah.
And I can't handle that.
Like Claudine.
She smiles the whole time.
Yeah, Claudine even points out, it's like, you're already the top at pretty much everything else. There's no reason for you to be at the top.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, give somebody else a shot.
No, I have to have everything.
Yeah.
Which really cool personality. I mean, I don't think I'd like that person in real life. But it's really cool to see that
just
amount
that
of
drive and pride and determination
from a character.
Yup. And last but not least, we have Steins Gate Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Another episode where it was just more character drama.
That seemed to be
again, it seemed like to be
kind
kind
of a what's the word?
Like kind of just a slow down sort of week.
Pattern.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah, a pattern. It was a pattern of just a lot of episodes this week, just not really going too heavy with action, with a couple exceptions, Heroic and Attack on Titan being the major ones. But yeah, this one is another sort of like slice of life thing. It shows Suzuha and her desperation to want to see her mom and dad get together.
She knows that they end up together.
Yeah.
Because she's still there.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a little selfish that she just wants to see it.
Yeah.
She wants to see them, doing happy datey things together before she does something that she's planning on doing the next episode.
Yeah, and she just wants to see it happen. But, so she's also partially worried, I think, that he doesn't have the confidence in himself, and it just may not happen, I think, to some degree, because Daru at this point in time just is kind of just making excuses and stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm working on the time machine.
Yuki to make the first move.
Yeah, I'm waiting on working on the time leap machine, all this other stuff. And so she's just like, okay, enough of that. It's like, if you don't do something, I'm going to disappear. And she shows him a picture of like, on her phone of like her slightly faded out. And it's just like, and he literally says, oh my god, it's just like from Back to the Future. And they like, Dad, stop that.
No, we can't say that. That's copyright.
And so we need to do something about your confidence. We need to get you to talk to mom and go out on more dates, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then in the midst of all this, Hiajo shows up back in Japan after her like a little existential crisis.
Yeah, and she's walking by and they're like, "Huh, there's a suitcase."
It's just
like it's a suitcase bigger than her.
Yeah, it's a giant suitcase. A giant suitcase for a tiny scientist. But, so they realize it. They go up to greet her. They say, hey, welcome back. And it's like, hey, do you think you can help us with something? And, yeah, she thinks she's gonna
very important.
Yeah, she thinks she's gonna go back to work on the time leap machine, but then it turns out, nope, she's just helping Daru get a girlfriend.
Yeah, she's helping all the girls.
Yeah.
All the girls are there. Yeah. All of them.
Including Rukako, who's a dude. They start giving him a bunch of different advice on how to be more confident and stuff like that. It's revealed that Ferris actually had a hand in making the picture look.
Photoshopping.
Yeah, just doctoring it just to make it look like she was disappearing, just to scare him a little bit. And then they start giving advice, and then Hyajo actually hypnotizes him.
Yeah, she's just, I'm assuming in her giant suitcase.
Yeah.
She pulls out like this device. She's like, oh yeah, this is a prototype device for sleep teaching.
Yeah, exactly.
So they have Daru go to sleep probably.
And hooked up, and he just starts saying, "You are successful, man."
I'm a successful ladies' man.
And then the next day, Yuki and him go out on a date, and he's acting like super suave, or what he thinks is.
He's, I mean, like real talk. He cleans up nice.
Yeah, he does.
Him wearing like nice clothes, not just suspenders and a hat.
Yeah.
Well, he looks, pretty fancy.
Yeah. It was a nice breath of fresh air to see something different. And yeah, he does clean up pretty nice, and he's acting all cool and suave. And she's a little bit off-put by it, and then later they're at a restaurant. He's like, "The usual, please."
Yeah, because they set it up.
Yeah, and again, Ferris
just, flexing her wallet.
Yeah. And he's just like, "Was that good?" He's like, "Yes, that was perfect. Thank you." And so then they keep hanging out, going places, and they go on top of they go like just kind of looking, like overlooking the horizon and stuff like that. And Suzuha is just watching behind them, just like, "Oh man, it's gonna happen. Go finish just deliver the killing blow." And he gets ready to gets down on one knee, and
looks like he's about to propose.
Yeah, and at this point, Yuki is like super uncomfortable, and she's just like, "I had fun, thank you," and then just kind of walks off.
Because she likes his nerdy personality. Because Yuki, at the end of the day, she's a cosplayer. She loves anime and video games and stuff, and she, even if she looks like a normal,
supermodel,
model girl.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, she likes Daru for his
nerdy
personality. Yeah, and his doofiness.
Yeah, exactly. And so what happens later is after he gets shut down,
he gets super depressed.
Yeah, he gets super depressed. He goes back on the roof where Suzuha keeps the time machine, and Suzuha goes there to talk to him, and it's just like, "I'm sorry, I screwed this up. Like, this was my fault. I doctored a photo. I doctored the photo. I wanted to give you the push. I wanted to just see you and Mom be happy, because I never got the chance to really see you like that in the future." Mm-hmm. And then it cuts to a scene of Suzuha actually watching her mom get gunned down in front of her by a drone.
A surprisingly dark moment in this episode.
And then somehow not getting hit herself by the machine gun, managing to pick up the machine gun on her back, and then shoot the drones.
Yeah,
it's like,
main character powers.
Yeah, suspension of disbelief, whatever. Maybe she was using her mom's body as a shield. I don't know. So then she apologizes for that, and he's just like, "You know what? I kind of knew that you were probably doing something like that anyway." Because Daru, at the end of the day, really smart. We usually tend to forget how smart he is just because...
Super hacker!
Yeah, we tend to forget how smart he is because he is such a doofus at times, and how silly he acts. Yeah, and so we forget that he actually is, yes, very smart, very capable, and a lot of really cool things. And he's just like, "Yeah, I kind of knew. I just, I was being a bit selfish though myself, because I guess I wanted somebody to give me that push. And for that, I'm going to thank you." Then he calls up Yuki right then and there and says, "Hey, do you want to hang out with me again tomorrow?" Mm-hmm. She says yes. They hang out. Like, he doesn't like do anything different. He just kind of goes around like in his suspenders. Like, they go.
Yeah, he shows up in his normal outfit. His suspenders and, his hat and his.
Yeah.
Gray shirt, and then they spend the whole day of Daru just being himself.
Yeah,
and being his goofy self.
Yeah, just trying to win something from a claw machine and failing, and a bunch of other funny stuff. And then he's just like, and she's like, I like you a lot better when you're just being yourself. And then at that moment,
that was a touching, happy, mature moment. For them.
Yep. And then he says something he gets ready to confess that he loves her and wants to be.
You think he's going to say, "I love you."
Yeah, and he's just like,
and he says, "My heart feels moe moe kyun when I'm around you."
And then he shouts this out loud. And then Suzuha, of course, is watching, and she's just like, at first, just kind of befuddled.
He's like, oh god, that's so cringy.
And then she starts laughing.
Yeah, but Yuki responds in the way As if he said, I love you.
Yeah, exactly. And then Suzuha starts laughing, and then she looks behind her and realizes that Yuki and Daru are looking at her, are watching her, so they know that she's there, and Yuki's just waving.
Yep. So that was a cute little moment.
And then, last but not least, you see,
first is, talk about Okabe.
Oh god, yeah.
The whole episode, Okabe's been ignoring everybody, pretty much.
Yeah,
work with the professor.
Yeah, Dr. Leskinen.
Yeah.
Doctor,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's just I'd almost forgotten about that, but yeah, that is really important.
Yeah, Okabe's growing more and more, separate from the group. Whenever you see, at least so far in the season, whenever you see everyone hanging out together, Okabe's usually not there.
Yeah.
He's off researching or
by himself,
with Yajo, or
or Amadeus.
The whole Amadeus thing in the first couple episodes.
Yeah, but he's very separate from the group, and it's almost like Mayuri is sending him It seems that he was sort of hanging out with everybody while Kaguri was there, but now that Kaguri was gone, he just kind of stopped.
He's just getting more and more separate.
Yeah, and Mayushi is just hey, do you want to hang out today? We can maybe talk. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about with you. And he just ignores it. Because Leskinen's there and they're talking about research. It's your ideas are good. They just need to be a little bit more polished up and they can be great. Stuff like that. Basically telling him, it's yes, you're an amazing scientist. Stuff like that. You're really intelligent. And then after all that, it goes back to Yuki, Daru, and Suzuha. And they're just kind of talking, and Suzuha's talking with Yuki, just kind of talking along with her. It's just I want you to take care of my older brother.
Mm-hmm. Really touching moment.
Yeah, and then it's just I hope so too. It's because he clearly means a lot to you, and he means a lot to me too.
Quick thought. I'm thinking that Yuki actually is part of the group that's trying to take him out, but via her relationship with Daru, she ends up breaking off from that group. That would explain why she's kind of a nice person in the future. She's on their side. That
could be possible.
It's either that or it's a red herring when they showed her messed up hand.
Yeah, when it's just my arm's been kind of sore lately. Yeah, that could be it. But at the same time, it's just oh god. It was such a nice touching moment after Yuki said he's going to. It's we'll be taking care of each other from now on, and then Suzuha breaks down crying and just hugs her
because she remembers her mom.
Yeah,
and how her mom died in the future.
Yeah,
and this is the moment she wanted.
Yeah,
she finally reached the point where she doesn't say it, but I feel like she's saying I'm not going to have any more regrets. Anymore.
Yeah,
now that I was finally able to see this one moment.
Yep, and and then they get ready to go. It's just okay, I'm gonna go home. It's if I stick around for too much longer, I'm just gonna end up being a third wheel. You guys go have fun. So she heads out, and then the camera pans out to Kaguri standing on the roof. And then Kaguri's looking down just at everybody, and that's where the episode ends.
Yeah, it's the dramatic look.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, how these next few episodes pan out.
I want to see how they're going to play out Yuki.
Yeah, I was thinking about this a little bit too. You said before that you think that Leskinen is probably part of the group. I'm a little bit more inclined to believe that, because if you think about what he's doing with Okabe, is he's basically grooming him to work on these kinds of projects and stuff like that.
Yeah, what if in this alternate future Okabe's a bad guy?
Yeah, what if? What if he would, or even if he was just unwittingly used because of his failure. He's an unwitting villain. He just wanted to do some good work that had some meaning. He just was kind of suckered into something he had no idea because of his deteriorated mental state. I think that's what Leskinen is doing. Leskinen knows about what happened and is using that to his advantage. That's why he was so impressed with Okabe in the meeting, because it's just oh, this is the guy who knew about Kurisu. Maybe we can use him.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's possibility. Leskinen seems like a good guy, but at the same time, that's how they get you.
Yeah, exactly. And the show is, all of their characters have been written really well.
Yeah.
He could be very good at hiding his true intentions.
Exactly. Anyway, guys, that's it for, this
long episode.
Yeah. As ever, this episode of Timesync Anime Podcast, we went on for a little longer than we had intended to, but
A lot to talk about.
we wanted to go more in depth with just the episodes themselves. Now that we're not worried about dropping series or anything like that. So, yeah, with all the shows that we're watching, and just wanted to talk about some really cool scenes. That's where we're gonna leave it. Hope you guys are enjoying the season as much as we are. We'll see you next time.